From Dr. Pink Field in Frisco, Texas, USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2014 USA Ultimate National Championship in this women's semifinal between DC Scandal and the Boston Brute Squad. A look at our women's Final Four as all four of the top seeds have advanced. This game between Washington, D.C. and Boston, San Francisco and Seattle on the other side. Alongside the voice of Ultimate, Evan Lepler, I'm Wayne Randazzo, and these two teams certainly very familiar with this time of the year, championship round, and D.C. Scandal, the defending national champions.
Yeah, the Final Four is really the Fantastic Four. This quartet has been heads and shoulders above the rest of the fields in the women's division. It is chalk in the Final Four, but that doesn't mean it was easy for them to get there. Both Scandal and Brute Squad needed tremendous comebacks to win in the quarterfinals.
I mentioned Scandal in their national championship last year, but they entered this year as the 4 seed in this tournament.
Washington, D.C. Scandal, still a very strong team. Alex Guesquier now in his second year coaching them. In his first year, he took them to the national championship. But they've had some growing pains this year, trying to figure out exactly how they get back to the promised land. To do so, they'll be relying on so many key players, Octavia Payne and Mercier handling the disc, but their deep threat, Sandy Jurgensen, is unlike anyone else in this sport. She's really like Bo Kittredge circa the 2005-2006 season, a tremendous deep threat. You need to know where she is on the field.
And Brute Squad, the undisputed #1 seed in this tournament, a team, though, that hasn't lost since about 3 months ago. We saw their last loss at the U.S. Open.
Well, it's incredible how Boston has stolen the storyline this season as the top team. Everybody else went to Worlds, but Boston was just working on getting better. And the talent that Boston put together, a bunch of key players from Nemesis moving to the Northeast. Leila Tennell, though, from North Carolina, coming up to Beantown, has been a tremendous anchor to the handling core. The Callahan winner from 2011, a calming influence offensively. She's one of the many stars from Brute Squad that's trying to lead them to their first national title.
Women's semifinal coming up. DC Scandal and the Boston Brute Squad will have the opening pull from Frisco, Texas, coming up next. The 2014 USA Ultimate Championships are brought to you by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer today about Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, America's most competitive and prestigious series of ultimate tournaments. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body of the sport of ultimate in the United States. To learn more about USA Ultimate or to find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. It's a beautiful day here in Frisco, Texas. Dr. Pink Field and the Boston Brute Squad trying to claim their stake as the #1 team in the women's division of Ultimate. They are the #1 seed in this tournament. A perfect 5-0 and going up against a Scandal team that is also 5-0 in this tournament. What you need to know, well, there's 7 players on each side. First team to 15 moves on. Halftime occurs when a team gets 8. Disc can go in any direction. You can't run with it, though, and you only have 10 seconds to pass it. It's a self-officiated game with the orange-shirted observers on the field. Teams will switch ends after each score. That's when an offense completes a pass in the opponent's end zone. That's how you get a point. Again, the first of 15 of those will play in the championship game tomorrow. The women's division in its Final Four with all 4 top seeds in the opening poll from the Brute Squad as DC Scandal starts off with possession.
Boston's season has been built upon its defense. Mike Zalisk, the head coach, very confident in the D-line. Doesn't think they're going to give up that many easy scores. Scandal has a pretty good offense, too, led by Anne Mercier, the handler who now has the disc in her hands.
It's Mercier as she flicks it downfield, looking for the end zone. And right away, DC Scandal right on the edge. Ashley Daly caught it at the goal line. Red zone chance for Scandal. And there's Mercier, who gives way to her teammate behind her, Sarah Ito, who makes the grab for the goal.
Scandal made that look pretty easy, didn't they? Ashley Daly moving to the O-line has been such a huge addition, adding speed, and she's one of many University of Michigan alums in this game. Sarah Ito, probably the most underrated player in the women's division. She had one of the great catches of the tournament, going over 2 Molly Brown defenders in the end zone for a score. to wrap up pool play on Thursday. Perhaps the game of pool play in any division. Scandal over Molly Brown on Universe Point. And the Boston defense, not much of an impediment for Scandal at the outset. The defending champs against the team that's trying to win its first title in Brute Squad, but I don't think Brute Squad's going to have that many jitters. They were engaged in a pretty gregarious dance party on their own sideline before this game started.
That always helps. Brute Squad in the black tops, DC Scandal in white. And it's Scandal with the early start here as Octavia Payne will pull this one to give it to the Brute Squad. Brute Squad in those flashy Boston tops, kind of like the Boston Celtics with the neon green on top of the black.
We like them because they are very easy to see from up here in the booth.
Yeah, unlike their opponents here in this women's semifinal. Boston with their first possession, and Leela Tennell will start it off. She has 10 assists, tied with Dory Zipperstein for the team lead. As the observers jump in here quickly to start things off before the Brute Squad's first possession. And this is a foul or whatever they're talking about away from the disc that has very little impact on what's about to happen. Jenna Hammaker, our head observer. Kai Hudak, Chris Van Eye, and Brian Bradburn, our observers here today. So Brute Squad starts off their first possession. It's Malinowski who dishes it back. Now it's Paula Seville flinging it forward across to the sideline near Vicky Chang. Brute Squad with 3 former Callahan Award winners and 3 other Callahan Award finalists. An all-star team of sorts.
Coached by a Callahan Award winner too, and Mike Zalisk.
Now Tennell with a quick red zone chance for the Brute Squad. DC Scandal scored quickly on their opening try. Seville tosses it to the side. And now it's Malinowski. An active goal scorer for the Brute Squad with possession here. And now a stoppage away from the disc. As the observers will jump in again for DC Scandal. That's Kimberly Beach, who's being over-aggressive on defense.
The ageless Kimberly Beach. She's 41 years old, but still had a really strong season. And Alex Gesquier said she still has the vitality and energy of a 20-year-old.
Seville trying to dip it in, and now near the goal line. Brute Squad does have the goal. There was some uncertainty there from Tennell if she was in or not, but she is in the end zone. And a quick strike for the Brute Squad as both teams score on their first possession.
Well, we talked in the open about how Tennell is one of the anchors to the Boston offense, and this possession largely went through her along with another Callahan Award winner in Seville. Just a great collection of talent, similar to Johnny Bravo, a surplus of talent. Leela Tennell, obviously the younger sister of the great Dylan Tennell, who was here in Frisco playing with Atlanta Bucket, a mixed team that fell shy in bracket play. Leela started playing Ultimate when she was in 5th grade, tossing with her brother who was playing at the Paideia School. She started playing club for Ozone when she was just in high school. It was after her sophomore year she started playing club, and to have that experience, just a remarkable, great piece of talent for this Boston team. And Atlanta Bucket, that mixed team with Leela's brother Dylan, didn't make it to the semifinals, but they did advance in a pro flight through the backdoor bracket.
Both of these teams rely heavily on their defenses, but both offenses striking to start this one off. You look at the final scores from Brute Squad, with the exception of Showdown in the quarterfinals, they didn't give up very many points at all. In fact, in 3 of their wins, they gave up a total of 10 points.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't watch a whole lot of Boston the first day of the tournament because the games weren't compelling. They were just trouncing teams mercilessly, looking like a juggernaut. The Showdown quarterfinal was really something else. Showdown came out and played a great game, and more than anything, I think it was Showdown that gave it away down the stretch.
Brute Squad with 3 double-digit point differences in this tournament out of their 5 wins. That is very impressive for a team that's playing its best Ultimate at the perfect time of year. DC Scandal trying to set up as they bust it out near the red zone. Alicia White sticks it back.
And a good continuation throw from Alika Johnston. She's one of my favorite handlers to watch, just 20 years old, but a key player at 19 in the championship squad of a year ago.
That's Mercier looking for an opening and dumping it back to O'Connor. Jesse O'Connor being forced from the side. Good angle taken by Bacher, but still a pass completes ahead. Now right on the cusp of another score as Johnston gets it to O'Connor. She flings it into the end zone for a completion and a point for DC Scandal. Molly Roy gives Scandal the lead back.
Roy the score, O'Connor the assist, but it was that hockey assist from Johnston that opened up the lane. The little inside flick break. Good pivot to create the space to get that throw off. And then just a nice, easy open side cut. The defender, Hallweaver, trailing on the open side.
So a lot like what we saw in the mixed division semifinal, with the offense is very fluid early on. Scores in the first 3 possessions of this game. And DC Scandal a quick 2-1 lead over the Brute Squad as you take a look at Roy, who scored that goal, the Arlington, Virginia native. Molly Roy getting her team on the board here once again. Roy out of Dartmouth. She played for Princess Leia. See how DC Scandal got here, 3-0 in Pool D. They were dominant with the exception of their win over Molly Brown, which was a 1-point victory. They beat Vancouver Traffic 15-12 in the quarterfinals.
And that was not a dominant win, though, over Traffic. They were down 4 breaks at one point in the first half. Asked Alex Gisquier what it took to turn it around. He basically said intensity. We needed to ratchet up our intensity. We weren't ready to play at that level, and they took it to us, but they were able to get the job done as Traffic folded late.
Okay, you're good.
Malinowski being guarded by Beach over on the sideline as she'll tap it back in. Now Brute Squad trying to answer the first 2 goals from DC Scandal with 2 for 2 on their offensive tries. And that disc falls onto the turf. Good defense by Scandal. Zipperstein had it turned over near her. First chance for a point break, and Beach sends it back.
Scandal being patient here, typically off a turn. They love to shoot it deep. Opie Payne, so athletic, up line cut.
Payne trying to punch it in, flips it to the sideline, and it's taken away. Great D by Leela Tennell.
Well, it's the versatile abilities of someone like Tennell that make her so good. She was beaten on this play, but had the closing speed and the extension to get it back, but now another turnover.
Now Scandal with good field position after Brute Squad gives it right back. Allison Maddox trying to zing it into the end zone. It's too high. But there might have been some contact there, and they will call a foul against Malinowski. Rather, that's Paula Seville in the end zone that was making contact with Beach.
According to Beach. Not sure Paula Seville agrees.
Sorted out, the observers will get involved, and we'll see what they rule. If it's in Scandal's favor, they'll keep possession. If not, goes to the Brute Squad, and looks like it will be a foul.
Foul upheld. And it'll be Beach's disc on the goal line.
So Kimberly Beach, the veteran, 41 years young.
Yeah, so you're gonna
Have a chance to punch this one in. There is some experience on this Scandal squad.
You're gonna walk it straight up.
Ratcliffe,
And you're gonna tap it.
Graydon, they're both 34 years old. Alicia White, 32, so not exactly a youthful team like the Brute Squad. Move it back to the edge of the goal line, and now Beach trying to find a teammate. Dumps it back to Payne. They give to Frankie, who looks for the top. And now Kimberly Beach with a sliding grab for the score. 3 of the first 4 points in this one have been scored by DC Scandal.
East-west red zone offense, and it's Jurgensen to Beach. Now this is one of the things that Scandal's gonna have to do if they're gonna knock off the top seed here. Brute Squad has too much defensive athleticism for Scandal to play its typical game of just shooting it deep, and if they don't make the play, then you rely on the defense. You need to have some methodical possession-based attack, like we just saw there.
Kimberly Beach out of Pennsylvania, who's played for a few different teams, on her way to Scandal. I think the defending national champions get on the board. It was at this tournament last year where DC Scandal entered once again as a higher seed, a number 4 seed this year, and moved their way through on their way to the championship. Brute Squad had a kind of disappointing year last year at Nationals.
Well, it's amazing, Wayne, how the narrative has changed in the women's division. You know, a year ago heading into Nationals, the question was there a team that could battle Fury and even Riot? It felt like there was a top 2, and then maybe Scandal was number 3. Well, obviously, Washington and EDC proved to be the East Coast powerhouse that was number 1 in the nation, just completely dismantling Riot in the semis, and then dominating Fury in the finals, too.
Well, you know what they say, the 8th
Oh,
straight.
and a drop pull. This is a turnover. Holy cow.
You don't see that very often. If it falls in front of the player, that's different. But if it is dropped like it was there, it turns it right back to Scandal.
Vicky Chang, key mistake. Now can the Boston defense rise up?
DC Scandal already with a 2-goal lead. Playing it safe near the goal line. Beach is open, and Beach has it. You saw it develop right in front. Kimberly Beach saw an opening, and her 2nd straight goal gives DC Scandal a 3-goal lead.
The pull from Opie Payne. This is a routine catch. Did she take her eye off it? No, she just flubbed it. That is a mentally dismantling play in that can really leave you flummoxed and lacking confidence the rest of the game. I'd be curious to see Vicky Chang try to catch another pull on one of these next few points.
So Kimberly Beach in the end zone for a 2nd time, and Scandal has jumped out to a nice lead here. Boston Brute Squad, the undisputed number 1. They had a showdown against Showdown in the quarterfinals that they were nearly knocked out. What is it about this tournament that makes life difficult for the Brute Squad?
Well, there was nothing difficult on Thursday, but then Friday, you know, I think it was something to do with the fact that they hadn't been tested yet, and then they got punched in the mouth. And in terms of dealing with that, it was a struggle. Very much a chalk in the women's bracket. Heist played well, so did Seattle Underground, and it was an interesting, you know, landscape in the women's, because Molly Brown very easily could have upset Scandal in pool play. Fury really did a pretty good job taking care of business against Traffic, and then Fury beating Molly Brown in the quarterfinals.
You see San Francisco Nightlock, the only one of the top 8 teams that didn't make it at least to the quarters. Riot and Fury, the other semifinal, they're going to battle it out soon. San Francisco Fury wants their 8th title in 9 years. Here at the National Championship, they had their 7-peat broken last year by Scandal.
Yeah, that other semifinal is just as, if not more, fascinating to me than this one. When you have the dynamic of just the 2 legendary programs. Maddie Sang, the head coach of Fury, who's been at the helm for 9 seasons, he has said he's stepping down at the end of this year, so trying to win another title. This could be his last day on the sideline for Fury today if they don't beat Riot. It's also a rematch of the World Championship game final. And that pull sails out of bounds.
Take it up to the brick mark, and Boston Brute Squad needs a point here. You don't want to fall behind too far too early. 1st to 8 sends this one to halftime. 1st to 15 wins. Certainly Brute Squad is capable of making a comeback, but you don't want to fall behind 5-1. So this is a big point here for Boston, as Tunnell will slap it in and send it back to Chang. She fires it forward. Here comes the offense for the Brute Squad. Malinowski to Seville. Seville being forced from the side. She flips it ahead to Chang. Chang had that key drop on the pull. Now Boot Squad in the red zone. It's Malinowski along the side, and a foul is called. Some shoving away from the disc.
It was a pick downfield.
Tennell was trying to get positioning. Beach with the force on top of Malinowski. Flip to Seville, and she dropped it. I think she wants to say that she was hit from behind by Wickner. Couldn't have been much of a hit there. It looked like she just flat out dropped it. What do you think?
This will be the angle.
No, it pretty clearly dropped it.
Looked like she got hit on the wrist. It looked like she was in the process of dropping it, but in her second effort, she might have been hit on the wrist, and the foul was upheld.
Well, good for the Boot Squad as they need a point here, and Seville throws it to the end zone, and in the corner, it's brought down by Becky Malinowski at 5'10", one of the taller girls on the field, and a big point for the Boot Squad.
Much needed response. And Seville, another Michigan alum, to her former flywheel teammate. Malinowski at 5'10", soaring above for the score.
A necessary point for Boot Squad early in this one. Let's take a look at some of the history of this tournament. First held in 1979. There are 3 divisions. There were 2 to begin with. Just men's and women's. Mixed was added later. 48 different teams, more than 1,200 athletes. The defending champions, DC Scandals, one of them. We already saw Dragon Thrust on the mixed side advance back to the national championship game. That'll be tomorrow. DC Scandal trying to be the second defending national champion to return to the championship game. The men's side, that thing's all up for grabs as we enter this final weekend. Another bad pull. This one goes very short. So DC Scandal up near the brick mark to begin this possession, even after the pull stayed in bounds. Samantha McClellan. Now Mercier sends it back. Forced from the side by Angela Zhu. O'Connor trying to get rid of it and finally back out to Alicia White, but play stopped.
A stall was called on O'Connor. Contested stall. They come to the observer, and it was not a stall. It looks like, says the observer.
So who keeps that count?
The marker keeps the count.
So how could it be contested?
Because if there could be a debate as to whether she released the throw before the marker got to 10, or if she was counting too fast. That could also be a contested stall.
O'Connor zips it up ahead. Back to White. Now back to O'Connor. Scandal with the early lead, trying to continue their offensive surge. They've scored early and often in this one. Mika Johnston now to Mercier. Mercier with 11 assists in this tournament. Haven't even called Sandy Jorgensen's name yet. She's the leading scorer. There's motion along the sideline, trying to keep it in bounds. Ito, and a red zone chance for DC Scandal. Great catch by Ito. Now she goes to the back of the end zone and able to bring it down. In bounds for the point is Samantha McClellan.
Well, the stall count was rising here, and Ito gave her teammate a chance to make the play, and McClellan takes care of business.
20 yards deep in the end zones here in Ultimate, and a lot of room. This one was zoomed back all the way to the edge.
That's just great field vision. You size up the situation. You know you're running out of time. You know you have to get rid of the disc. She saw the best matchup, put it up in the air, and allowed the 5'7" Samantha McClellan to come down with a disc.
Great start for Scandal in this one. First team to 8 sends it to halftime. First to 15 plays for the championship tomorrow. Boston Brute Squad trying to solidify themselves as the top ultimate team on the women's side. Kind of a tough start for them.
Just like football, it's about taking care of business in the red zone. You want touchdowns, you don't want field goals, and mostly you don't want turnovers. Scandal so far 5 for 5 in the red zone. 5 different players with the assist.
The woman holding a baby on the sideline there. You don't see that in many other sports.
That's Kath Radcliffe holding her 1-month-old son, Zavi. That's Kath and Alex Guesquier's young son, born on September 17th. And he is a crucial part of their game plan, at least that's what Dutchy told me.
Brute Squad looking for a quick point. They get it. That was easy as it ends up in the arms of Chelsea Whitty Garcia.
That happened fast, didn't it?
Sure did.
Whitty Garcia has been an excellent deep threat for Brute Squad. 5'10", originally from Madison, played for Wisconsin and also played out in the Bay Area with Blackbird in the mixed division. Big pickup last year for Brute Squad. The transition period for Boston Brute Squad has really been interesting because for a while this was a team that consistently was threatening to break through against Fury. And then Boston Brute sort of fell back in the pack a little bit, quarters, pre-quarters. But it was very clear coming into the season that they were going to be one of the top teams. The infusion of talent from Chicago nemesis Courtney Kiesau and Paula Seville. Also Becca Ludford. You know, the maturity of folks like Gina Titcomb, Dory Zipperstein, obviously Leela Tennell, and Emily Bacher, just a tremendous leader for Boston.
They'll have the championship tomorrow as Fury battles Riot today in the other semifinals, trying to get back in the championship game. We saw a great Boston-Seattle championship at the U.S. Open in July, in which Seattle defeated the Brute Squad. The Brute Squad has not lost since.
Also failed to mention the addition of Leanne Hoffman for Boston Brute Squad, who moved to Boston in part because she had a master's in mechanical engineering, and Mike Zalisk, the head coach of the team, helped get her a job.
Possession for Scandal after a Brute Squad score. Looking for the end zone, an opening there, but a throw too high.
Jorgensen went down hard.
There is a down member of Scandal in the end zone as we take a look at the legs getting chopped out from underneath. Actually, Ashley Daly, it looks like.
Yeah, my mistake.
That got knocked out in the end zone there. A big defensive hit by Sarah Jacoby on that jump disc. We talked about it in the mixed division, how it's not supposed to be a contact sport, but sometimes it is, and there's one of those instances where a pretty hard contact was made. Although the disc at that point was uncatchable. Does that matter?
It can. Certainly in the opinion of the observers, their decision will have to do to what should have happened.
And Daly is contesting that she still had a chance at the disc, although on the replay it didn't appear that way. Looked like it had already flung by her. And then the contact came from Jacoby.
Yeah. Next time I'll go. Okay,
See
that's
Daly go up. The disc is gone at that point, and then the contact comes. But it looks like the call will go in the favor of the Brute Squad. So Boston will grab possession. It was ruled uncatchable after Daly had her chance, and now a huck attempt on the first throw. Looking deep for Cammie Groom, and she's got it.
Just a cannon of a backhand from Bacher.
Now Groom flips it up ahead, and time is called. Bacher.
There's contact away from the disc as Bacher made her upline cut.
Sheena Titcomb goes down. Her sister's playing in the other semifinal.
Yes, indeed.
Rory Titcomb on Seattle.
One of the captains of Riot.
Observers and their role here, tracking time limits, making rulings on infractions that are not solvable by the players themselves. They can also eject players. Especially in these tournament games, we see a big role played by those orange-clothed observers. Alicia White pleading her case here as this foul is seemingly unimportant. Doesn't change anything, really.
I mean, you keep saying that the fouls are unimportant. There's a lot of contact that goes on in the paint in a basketball game. Sometimes the refs call it tight, sometimes they don't. It's all about what the players themselves are willing to allow. And, you know, someone went down away from the disc there. The foul was called. I think the argument over it might not be important. It might be nicer if the observers stepped in more quickly to make a ruling. Just to say the contact isn't important, I think, is sort of misleading. But the observers certainly should resolve this quicker. That's what they're out there to do.
Especially in the case that they don't keep track of fouls. And there's no penalty really here. The disc is going to be where it is anyway.
Where's?
Exactly.
So in the scheme of the game, whatever happens
So
here bears nothing on this next play.
And they'll send the disc back to Groom and say that the foul happened
Called by the
before
offense.
Sort of Bacher, which I think it did. It was a pick call. Bacher might have kept the disc because the pick was not involved in the completion, but alas, it's back in Groom's hands.
Now Cammie Groom sends it back. It's Shira Klain being forced from the side and now back out toward the middle to Titcomb. Now Murphy swinging her left arm around as she looks to flick it ahead. Instead dumps it back.
Murphy, the only lefty on Brute Squad.
Not so many lefties, period, in this sport, it seems. You don't see a whole lot. Any influential left-handers that you could think of?
My first captain at Wake Forest was a lefty.
Now Klain along the sideline, zings it ahead, looking, then a great diving catch by Bacher, and it will actually not count, ruled out of bounds, as Bacher could not bring it down for the point. Great effort.
Tremendous effort from Bacher. Let's take another look. You only need 1 foot in. First point of contact.
Well, that right foot is dragging.
I think the left foot was on the line when she made the catch. And if 1 foot's in and 1 foot's out upon possession, it's no good.
Okay. Well, that is the case then. Left foot was out there and the right foot dragging.
I think the right foot did drag, but the first point of contact was out of bounds or on the line. Scandal looking to counter.
They're already down near the goal line. Almost turned it over there, but Johnston able to track it down. Now it's Mercier. Team's leader in assists with a hammer to the back of the end zone, and it's caught. Scandal with the point. Ashley Daly absorbing more contact. But DC Scandal goes up 6-3. See how they started this possession with the long huck on the sideline to Ito. From there, Scandal able to finish it up.
Ito's such a target, and so is Daly, who led all of Nationals in goals last year when she was playing with New York Bent. Now back on Scandal. She has been a huge pickup.
Good positioning there as Daly made sure Chelsea Murphy couldn't affect her. We'll see how it turned over for the Brute Squad. Almost got the point there. A great diving catch by Emily Bacher. And it did appear that her left foot was on the red line out of bounds. The right foot was dragging behind her inbounds. As Daly becomes the 5th different Scandal player to score out of the first 6 so far. Let's see if we can take a look at, again, that Emily Bacher dive.
Yeah, let's see if we can slow this down and see exactly when she gets possession of the disc.
Right there.
I think it was a good call by the observer, but it was really close.
The pole, it will belong to Brute Squad after they've given up quite a bit on defense in this one. Known for to be a team that forces errors. They've made their own errors in this one, including that flip out of bounds.
Now, Whitty Garcia just sort of lost track of where she was in the field. She threw to space, but the space was beyond the sideline.
How about Vicky Chang earlier dropping a pole? There have been some errors against Boston that have really hurt them. Let's see if this one comes back to bite. That's Payne. 2 great handlers on this Scandal team between Payne and Murcia.
Jurgensen, a tremendous run through to secure that disc with Whitty Garcia in her pocket.
Team's leading goal scorer in this tournament. Jorgensen hasn't had one yet. Maybe a chance here, though, as Scandal gets closer. Allison Maddox shoves it ahead. Wickner sends it back to Payne. Now Payne looks for the end zone, and it's caught by Amy Wickner, as Scandal continues to make it easy in this first half.
It's fun watching Octavia Payne play Ultimate. She's so intense. She's such a fierce competitor, yet she also plays the game with a smile on her face. And just to put to space, allowing her teammate, Amy Wickner, to make the grab. Great trust. And you can see the cohesiveness for Scandal has been, an A+ so far. Not the case for Boston, and that's why Scandal's up by 4 scores.
For a team described as the clear-cut #1 of this tournament, Boston Brute Squad has looked anything but a champion in this first half.
Here's the thing. They were the clear-cut #1 seed. But I think people around the country still view Riot as a slight favorite because of their recent world title. Riot was walloped by Brute Squad at ECC in the Pro Flight finale. But I think people looked at that as, Riot, a little hangover from Worlds perhaps. Serge Griffith was not 100%. She was out for a bit. Riot healthy again. They have the championship pedigree. We talk a lot about Matty Sang and this being his last tournament coaching Fury. Gwen Ambler, who's been a star of Fury and most recently a star of Riot for such a long time, she has said that this is most likely her final season competing at the highest level. I know some of her teammates who are going to try to talk her out of that position, but just one of the great stars in the sport. And that Fury Scandal game, Fury Riot game, getting ready to start over another field.
So Scandal has broken out in this first half, scoring 7 of the 10 goals. Again, 1st to 8 sends us to halftime, so we're close to that. As Brute Squad's about to get it back here, but a major possession for them as they try to get this one a little bit closer before the half. 1st to 15 advances to the Women's Championship game tomorrow. Riot and Fury battling on the other field, and their semifinal about to begin. Still to come today, the 2 men's semifinals. We'll carry both of those for you. As last year's men's champion is already out. There will be a new champion this year. Brute Squad's got it, Dory Zipperstein. Malinowski slings it across the field to Paula Seville. Seville looking for an opening. Beach with the defense. Now it's Cami Groom. Groom with the long flick downfield. And trying to make a diving catch, unable to, was Malinowski. We'll see if she wants the foul called here against Octavia Payne.
I think Opie Payne with a great poach, and I think she got this D clean. She had position coming from the weak side. Yeah, that looks clean to me.
Yeah, not much contact. Payne came flying in to disrupt. Didn't look like there was a whole lot of contact there. We'll see how the observers rule. If it's,
I think Opie, got Malinowski with the legs, but no foul.
Everybody stay!
and no foul. Good call by the observers as Payne gets credit with the defense. So now DC Scandal on halftime point. What a first half this has been for Scandal, trying to finish it off here. The defending women's national champions, as Octavia Payne sends it to halftime. Jorgensen with the catch, the leading goal scorer, finally gets her first today. And DC Scandal all over the Brute squad in this first half.
We've seen this so many times from O.P. Payne. Big flick to space, gigantic target, and Jorgensen, the best deep in the women's game. And that was an easy clap catch for Sandy to take half 8-3. This Boston Brute squad team has tons of talent. They have tons of experience, but they have never been down in a game like this, in a moment like this, with this current team as constituted. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of fight they have in the second half against a true champion in the defending champs from DC.
So it's 8-3 at halftime, and Boston Brute squad is going to need an enormous second half to come back in this one. In a game to 15, they'd have to outscore Scandal 12-5 in the second half to win by 2.
They were down 11-8 in the quarters yesterday against Showdown, and outscored them 8-3 down the stretch. Scandal's obviously a tougher foe than Showdown, but the captains meeting around midfield right now: Emily Bacher and Becky Malinowski, Courtney Kiesau. There's the Scandal tent. They've got some swagger, and for good reason.
See both teams kind of dancing around a little bit as Brute squad falls behind. I mean, how much of an upset would you say this first half has been so far?
I'm not sure it's that big of an upset. I think that, while Brute squad certainly was the top seed, I don't think anybody viewed them as a juggernaut, especially compared to a team like Scandal and the experience that they have had. And we're getting ready to talk to Emily Bacher, someone who's been all over the world in the women's game. She actually picked up with Riot on the World Games team, so she's won a gold medal already at Worlds this summer, but she's the only one. She's going to have to lead them here in the second half.
One of the captains of the Brute squad, Emily Bacher, as the Brute squad trails in this one 8-3. And Emily down to the field, about ready to join us, as we do have Emily now. And Emily, that first half, you have that catch along the sideline where you were falling out of bounds. How close was that to you?
That was in my hands. I don't know how close I was to inbounds or not. I couldn't see my feet, but it was in my hands. It was a close one. I thought it was going to hang in bounds a little longer, so a little disappointing, but it was a good throw.
Saw you talking to the other captains down there. What was the main topics of conversation?
How to contain their handlers a little bit better. We pride ourselves on our defense, and we're just not getting the turns we usually get. I think, and a lot of that is coming from a little bit of lack of fire in our handler defense. So that's on us to just step it up.
Is it more a matter of scheme? Do you think there'll be adjustments in scheme and strategy, or is it simply a ratcheting up of the intensity?
I think mostly it's intensity. I think that when it comes down to it, our team has the best man defense out there, and so when we can actually get the fire, our defense will be unstoppable.
I think the question then is how could you lack fire in a game like this?
There's a balance between you know, the good nervous fire and the bad nervous jitters fire. And I think we may be on the far end of the jitters spectrum. We got to turn that around and make it more of an attack rather than a defense.
eBay, you were able to catch lightning in a bottle in the second half yesterday against Showdown. What did it take yesterday, and what's it going to take in the second half to get back in this one?
I think we have what it takes, and that's a little bit of an underdog mentality. And I think there's not a lot of people who are going to bet on us right now, and I think that's going to help our D. Emily
Bacher, one of the captains of this Boston Brute Squad club. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
It is 8-3 as DC Scandal has the lead here at halftime, trying to return to the Women's Championship game. It's halftime here in Frisco, Texas, and it's DC Scandal out on top. Women's semifinal here in Frisco, Texas. Dr. Pinkfield, it's DC Scandal with a lead 8-3 over the Boston Brute Squad, the #1 seed in trouble, as we bring in the head coach of Scandal, Alex Gesquier. And Alex, your team certainly knows how to win at this time of year. What was the first half like for you?
Yeah, I think we got our intensity right to the level we needed to be at from the first point on. In the previous games, we've been a little slow to get there, and here the first foot on the field was playing at the right level.
Dutchie, I've seen you guys go bombs away off turnovers, but was really impressed with your patience in the first half in the red zone. Is that something you discussed before the game?
Yeah, we talked about two things. We wanted to really drive an initial deep cut that would suck the defense away and then make a lot of yardage on open unders. And then we really want to move the disc around the end zone. We definitely want to get it out of the corners. We were having a lot of trouble with that the first 2 days. And so far, we've done a much better job today.
Got a point off of a dropped pull, and you get kind of wide-eyed when you see that, and you feel like you need to take advantage of that like your team did.
I'll never turn it down.
Did Zavi enjoy that first half?
He's having a great time. Our whole sideline is up. Our intensity level is almost where it needs to be. Let's see if we can go a little bit higher this half.
Real quick, what has it been like coaching with your 1-month-old son on the sidelines?
Besides needing to take a lot more caffeine before games, it's been just about the same. The women do all the hard work, so for me, it's not so hard.
Congrats and good luck.
Yep, congratulations. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
DC Scandal has the lead 8-3 as we take a look at a first half that was dominated by the DC squad.
Yeah, it really was. You know, we traded the first few points, but then DC took over and a few breaks. This is just an open side cut. Mercier hits the target in the end zone. You know, Boston made a few mistakes, and Scandal really didn't make any. And Kimberly Beach, a couple scores. The 41-year-old still going strong. And again, Mercier distributing. Tremendous patience with Allison Maddox. Little over-the-top flip. Alika Johnston's been very smooth in the handling core as well.
Brute Squad didn't have many things going their way early, but a nice toss to the back of the end zone there to Becky Malinowski. Really, it was a first half of errors by Brute Squad that led to some points for DC Scandal. And we see how it goes for Scandal with Beach, the only one who's gotten in there twice. As Octavia Payne has a couple of assists. Brute Squad just the 3 goals. Tanel, Malinowski, and Whitty Garcia have scored those for Boston. So it sits 8-3 in favor of Scandal as this second half is about to begin, with the Brute Squad needing a major rally, and they will begin this second half with possession.
Don't want to overstate it, but this is basically a must-score possession here for Brute. They fall behind 9-3 against a team like Scandal. It's pretty much good night.
Yeah, at least a must-score point. You don't want to lose this possession and then give up a point on the other side of it.
Looking for the big shot.
Chang going deep for Keeshaw. It's tipped up and still caught. No, it was not caught. Keeshaw did not come up with it.
Number 2 versus number 2, Hulda Granval. In her 6th year with Scandal out of Wisconsin, Belladonna. D'ing up her former Wisconsin teammate.
And now Scandal on the other end with a chance as Jorgensen pulls it down and flips it to the end zone, but Beach can't come up with it. As some incidental contact was made there. But no foul called, and Brute Squad gets it right back. Beach trying to reach back around Kristen Unfried. As Unfried now starts off this possession for Brute Squad.
Unfried was on the championship team for Scandal last year, though, but moved up to Boston. Now going against her old team.
Malinowski being pinned. As she flips it back to Chang. Chang with the force in front. Into traffic, she finds her target, Courtney Kisa. Brute Squad needs this point. Down 5 already.
Scandal's forcing backhand and really doing a good job clogging that side. The strong side, open side handler defender. And up line, Beach comes up with another D. Tremendous team defense there from Scandal. You could see that coming.
41-year-old Beach has had a great game. Now DC Scandal with a chance to get this first point of the second half locked down and enjoy their biggest lead yet. Flip down the sideline. It's Jorgensen trying to punch it in, and Beach can't get it. The lunging effort in front of Chang. Maybe a foul here, we'll see. And there will be a foul called, it looks like, against Chang. They both went for it. Looked like there was some slapping on the back of the hand there as Chang tried to cut it away from Beach. So they sorted out in the end zone as Beach made that lunge. You see Beach only wears one glove. Got the glove on her left hand. Usually you see a player wear gloves on both hands or no gloves. Why the 1-and-1?
It's personal preference, the uniglove, as they sometimes say. Oftentimes you want a little help catching, but you don't want to throw with the glove on. I tried to wear gloves once, and as a handler, never could get comfortable with it. It's all about feel, personal preference. Some quarterbacks like to throw in gloves, some prefer to keep the bare hand.
And right back to the end zone it goes for DC Scandal inbounds. Allison Maddox scores the first point of the second half.
If Brute's not careful, this could get away from them entirely in a hurry. Nice catch and a still rising throw. And Jorgensen picks up another assist after she closed out the half with the goal. Brute is not playing anything close to its best game, but Scandal might be playing its A game today. Dutchie said at halftime they really came out with the intensity he was looking for. And, it's not just that simple. That you come out with a certain level of intensity, you also have to develop a rhythm and get in sync. And you get those first few points, you gain confidence, you have one or two players make some big defensive plays, and that's when you gain momentum, and like a snowball, you roll down the hill with more and more confidence.
Scandal won the championship last year at Nationals. They were third place in this year's World Championships. They're trying to repeat as a national champion.
Lost to Scandal, lost to Riot, I should say, in the semifinals. And just a really good game. Scandal was up early in that game. I think it was 4-2. Started at 3 a.m. on the East Coast, and you better believe I was up watching that. It was tremendous drama. To be honest, I didn't plan to stay up and watch the whole thing. Got in bed around 2:45. Told myself I'd watch a few points, and the next thing I knew it was 5 a.m.
A lot of excitement in Italy, a lot of excitement here this weekend in Frisco. The national championship on the line.
Sky Magazine did a really nice job with that coverage from Worlds and Lecco. Liam Rosen and Brian Jones in the commentary. The entire Sky team.
Brute Squad on the huck, looking deep for Malinowski, but taken away with a tremendous defensive effort by Sandy Jorgensen.
You have got to be kidding me, Sandy Jorgensen. Such remarkable closing speed and reach, and she just barely deflected the disc, and now Sandy looks shaken up running downfield. And she's hobbling toward the Scandal sideline.
taking all the pressure off her left foot.
She's such a warrior. So much fun to watch play. Check this out again. She got it just barely with a left hand, and then as she was going down, knocked it further away with her right to leave no doubt.
Yeah, it was that second slap with the right hand that really put the D away. It might have still been able to be caught. And now a huck that's going deep toward the end zone. Can it be tracked down? Yes, it can. As Laura Pape makes the catch in the end zone, and DC Scandal up 10-3 on Brute Squad.
Another brilliant put from Opie Payne. As perfect as can be. That was simply beautiful. Great balance, stepping to her right, the wind up and the release with incredibly tight rotation and velocity. And you saw how it sort of decelerated as it got to the end zone. Great throwers are able to get it out there quickly and then almost pull the string like a changeup and let it 60 yards downfield settle and give the deep target a chance to run underneath. Her third assist of the game. None more beautiful than that one, though.
9 different Scandal players have scored. Pape the latest. And it has been all Scandal in this one. Trying to return to the national championship game, which they won last year. Ending the long running string of championships by San Francisco Fury. Fury is trying to get back to the title game as well, playing Seattle Riot today in the other women's semifinal as Brute Squad watches this one float out of bounds. So they'll take it from the brick, but Boston Brute Squad needs a lot of things to happen in their favor here in this second half.
Riot Fury just began moments ago, a few hundred yards beyond us and off to our left at an adjacent field.
Brute Squad trying to score as Cammie Groom tracks this one down. So a point for Boston Brute Squad. They need a lot more where that came from.
They make it look easy. That was the Boston D-line that was playing out there on offense after the offense and turn it over so many times. Now they have confidence in the D-line, led by Emily Bacher, Cammie Groom, a deep threat as well, and the assist for Leanne Hoffman, one of the top players in the women's game. Hoffman, a type of player that has such fire, can take the game over. Not the fastest, but you know, her teammate Emily Bacher said she's one of the most coordinated players she's ever seen, and you see the bracket. And top 4 teams, but it wasn't easy for the top 4 to get into the finals. Boston Brute Squad had to come back from a 11-8 deficit against Showdown. DC Scandal was down 4 breaks in the first half to traffic, and you know, even Seattle and San Francisco were tested a bit. San Francisco against traffic. San Francisco against Molly Brown, I should say. And Riot dispatching Ozone. I think Molly Brown was the best team that didn't make semifinals. The girls from Denver gave Scandal all they could handle. And it was really fun watching them play. Claire Chastain was arguably the best player in the entire women's division. Tina Snodgrass led the circuit in goals. And then Dina Slattery, watching her put it deep, was phenomenal as well. And perhaps Boston building a little momentum here, Wayne. Emily Bacher will pick up off the rare Scandal turn.
Chelsea Murphy forcing the error. That's what Brute Squad likes to do. They rely on their defense, and now Bacher's going deep. On the huck, it's hanging, and it falls incomplete. You see our first men's semifinal coming up at 6:30 Eastern. Toronto Goat versus Denver Johnny Bravo. There will be a new champion this year with San Francisco Revolver already eliminated. And both men's semifinals coming up later on today. Possession for DC Scandal after Brute Squad turned it over on a huck.
You know, the deep cut from Ashley Daly opened up the underneath, and now they send it deep to Daly. What a play.
Daly getting targeted by McClellan. And Scandal gets that point right back to go up by 7.
This is tremendous team offense. Wide open underneath because Daly had gone deep, and she wasn't even cutting, but, well, when the disc went up in the air, she smartly went after it, her second goal. And McClellan appreciative of the yardage gained underneath, created by Daly, rewards her for her troubles.
Nicely done once again by DC Scandal as they continue to rip through this Brute Squad defense. At times in this tournament, Boston gave up very few points in a game. 3 in each of their first 2 contests. Only allowed 4 against Tabby Rosa in the pre-quarters.
They had been dominant, but their man defense has been exposed in this game, and in a situation like that, you know, clearly not trusting the one-on-one defense. By poaching off, it opened everything up underneath, and that was Scandal's strategy, as Alex Gesquier said at halftime.
Certainly the strategy has worked for Scandal. A big lead, first to 15. Advances to the championship game, and Brute Squad's really gonna need to do it very quickly. Gotta win by 2. Boston Brute Squad's gonna have to pretty much do what's been done to them in reverse. Stoppage here away from the disc. As Tennell will put it back into play, and now Boston Brute Squad looking to fire ahead. Seville to Chang. Chang faking a deep toss and sticks it back to Seville. All of Seville again to Chang. Brute Squad trying to do this carefully. Can't afford another turnover. Dumped ahead and a diving catch. Keeps it alive. Great job by Tennell to keep the disc in Brute Squad's possession. Now Tennell is having a debate with Allison Maddox.
Do you want to keep it here or come to me? Falcon test or come to me?
I'm gonna Falcon test.
Observer is
Falcon test.
So it goes back.
Falcon test.
It's a Falcon test. So it needs to go back.
trying to determine what happened here. Looks like Tennell kind of pushed off. I think that's what Maddox
Where you were at the time of the throw.
annoyed about. So
Throw.
the pass will come back. So Brute Squad will have to try it again.
Wait. Okay, now you're good.
Hubler with the defense on Chang. Chang tosses it in front and it's knocked away. Well, it works out for Scandal as Maddox, this time with the D in front of Tennell. Now Scandal looking for its biggest lead yet. Maddox zooms it forward. Now Wickner looks for the end zone, and it's too strong. Intended for Laura Pape. So many errors made by Brute Squad in this game that have really turned it against them. That would have been another massive one.
Scandal's doing a good job defending deep cuts individually and playing good man-to-man defense downfield, avoiding the help and poachy D's.
Okay, you're
that has
good.
got Boston Bruton in trouble. Meanwhile, on the sideline, Sandy Jurgensen still being looked at by the trainer. If we get any update, we'll be certain to pass it along.
Scandal had to be seen as an underdog in this one. They were underdogs last year as they made their way to a national championship. And if you look ahead,
Opie Payne
with another great play. If you look ahead to tomorrow, regardless of Fury or Riot, Scandal's gonna have to beat an underdog again tomorrow.
I don't know. The way Scandal's playing today, I might consider them the favorite. Opie Payne defensively has been a force.
Layout D from Payne, and now she's got it. She flings it forward to Alicia White. Back it goes to Payne. Payne, the leading handler in this tournament for Scandal. Now White again sends it back to Payne.
And she takes a timeout. The majority of Scandal's points have come off turnovers, and it's Opie as the main handler for the D-line.
DC Scandal's got a big lead as we take a look at how this tournament has unfolded. The top 4 seeds all advancing into the semifinals. It took comebacks from both of these two teams to get to this point. Now, the World Championship rematch has begun in the other semifinal between Seattle Riot and San Francisco Fury. Always a great battle with those two. We saw them match up at the US Open, the World Championships, and again here.
And they've known each other very, very well for a long time. They met way back at Solstice. Fury got the first punch, then Riot beat him a few times. Riot also beat Fury at the Pro Flight finale in the quarterfinals there. It was amazing how the World Championship final from LECO was the Pro Flight quarterfinal in Washington.
Brute Squad needs a defensive stop coming out of this timeout. DC Scandal with 1 timeout remaining. Brute Squad still with both of theirs. But it's 11-4. Boston Brute Squad on the verge of being eliminated from national championship contention. Championship game is tomorrow. Octavia Payne gets it ahead to Maddox. Maddox being forced from the side by Malinowski. Looking for an opening along the front of the goal line as Scandal's in position to score. It's Ito, back to Payne. Payne forward to Ito, the goal for DC Scandal. Their biggest lead yet. An 8-point advantage for the defending national champions.
You know, in a possession like this, you can see a little bit of the revolver influence that Alex Guesquier has brought. Patience near the goal line, swinging the disc, and pivoting to create space and break the mark. And, you know, that entire time, Opie Payne was trying to get the disc back in her hands. She does, she delivers.
Payne's had a great game. Sarah Ito scores for the 2nd time today. And DC Scandal has owned this one from start to finish. A 12-4 lead. Boston Brute Squad's up against it. Here in the semifinal, being done to them what they did to a few teams in this tournament. Just sheer domination. Well, on this stage, between these two teams, this one, not the score you expected. Maybe you thought Brute Squad would beat the Capitals the way they did. Maybe you thought DC Scandal would handle Chicago Nemesis the way they did. But to see it here in the semifinals, just an upset in and of itself to see a score this wide.
You know, I was chatting with Mike Zalisk, the Brute Squad head coach, before the game, and asked him what his keys were, and he said, you know, number one is executing on offense. So they have defenders that can match up with a few of our stars, but we have a lot of stars. Scandal's D has rendered most of Brute Squad stars fairly meaningless in this game.
Brute Squad needs scores and stops in a big way, and a lot of them.
That's
Going
a
for
force.
a deep huck that got tipped.
May have been a foul on the mark, though.
Looks like it will come back. The foul called pretty quickly. Brute Squad, we mentioned 3 former Callahan Award winners on their team, 3 former Callahan Award finalists as well. They're an all-star team, but I think has not gotten it together here today.
No contest on the foul.
Brute Squad will go back into play here. Would you have expected a performance like this from Brute Squad?
Oh, not at all. No, I think it's pretty shocking. You just expected them to come to play. They were loose before the game. Another deep shot for Beach. Oh, wow.
Kimberly Beach tracks down her 3rd goal of the game. Great throw from Mercier. And Scandal on the verge of advancing.
You could not have thought this was coming. And these two teams have had good games against one another. But it's been different individuals stepping up, not just Payne and Jurgensen. Daly's played great. Beach has played great. Granval had a huge D. And just the smooth, steady handling of Alika Johnston and Allison Maddox and Anne Mercier. You know, the talk was really about Brute Squad's depth. And from what we've seen in this game, Scandal's depth has been the difference.
Kimberly Beach, who's had quite a game on both offense and defense. 3 goals in this one. Scandal up by 9. Brute Squad's gonna have to run the table here to win this one to 15.
And this has got to be a really disappointing way for Brute Squad to go. You know, they're clearly in the top 4 now. It's the women's field has expanded from, you know, a top 1 and Fury being completely in a league of its own, and the top 2, Fury Riot, then Scandal entered that elite tier, the top edge of the pro flight, and now obviously Brute Squad as well. And Brute was in control of the regular season, got a wild card invite to the US Open, and, you know, for large parts of pool play looked like as good of a team as anybody, losing only Riot. Oh wow, that's a nice catch.
Excellent play by Chelsea Murphy as Brute Squad gets another goal. Brute Squad hasn't lost since the US Open in early July. Talk about a team getting hot at the right time. It looked like that was the case for Brute Squad entering this tournament, entering this Final Four. They have gotten smacked around by Scandal today. All 5 Brute Squad goals have come from different scorers, including Murphy here. Leela Tanel, we haven't seen her do a whole lot in this game. Laura Bitterman had 10 goals. Haven't mentioned her once.
Yeah, she's been very quiet.
The dimensions of the field here, 70 yards between the front of the goal line to the other front of the goal line. 40 yards wide, 20 yard deep in the end zones. Plays pretty much the length of an entire football field, with the width being a little bit more narrow. Scandal will get it, needing 2 points to advance to the championship game tomorrow. They'll play either San Francisco Fury or Seattle Riot.
And both of those would be fascinating matchups. You know, it was Scandal Fury in the finals last year after Scandal beat Riot in the semis. Scandal Riot was a world semifinal in August that could have gone either way.
They just pick apart the defense. That was a clean shot to the end zone and a goal for Alicia White, as Scandal now 1 point away from the championship game tomorrow.
You said it. Completely picking the defense apart here. And Boston clearly doesn't have it today, as put a lot of different players out there and just nothing has clicked. 14-5.
Now we're looking forward to the broadcast of the men's semifinal games. We'll have both of those later. Goat against Johnny Bravo. Should be an interesting matchup there. In the first men's semifinal of the day, we'll also have the Ironside Ring of Fire matchup As the two men's semifinal games come up later, we'll have all 3 division championship games tomorrow. Here in Frisco, Texas, is Scandal looking for its 15th straight win. And they just need to get that 15th point to get it and move on to the national championship game tomorrow. Octavia Payne has had a terrific afternoon. She's a big part of the reason why Scandal has dominated this game. It has been all Scandal.
That winning streak nearly ended on Thursday in the showcase game against Molly Brown. The team from Denver led 10-6. Scandal went on a 9-4 run to finish ahead 15-14. Jurgensen in the end zone on Universe.
Cami Groom has it for Brute Squad. Brute Squad, the talk of this tournament, coming in as the #1 seed. As they turn it over here, it's match point for DC Scandal.
I love the way you're at.
National champions in 2013. DC Scandal entered this tournament as the #4 seed. Certainly challenged during pool play by Molly Brown. A win in the pre-quarters over Capitals. They beat Vancouver Traffic in the quarterfinals. And now, just a near catch there from advancing to the finals as Frankie got tied up in the end zone.
His body while he feet tangled up.
It looked like incidental contact.
The observers will rule here.
Quinn Farrenwald nearly made the catch anyway.
As Frankie debates with Laura Bitterman. If it is ruled.
So overruled, that was no foul.
So no foul, and Boston Brute Squad will get it back, man. For Scandal, they nearly were able to advance to the championship. As that disc flew out of sight, you mentioned Farrenwald had come in, nearly made the catch. This one's going back to Scandal as Mercier picks it off. And now DC Scandal back in possession with a chance to advance.
She just plucked that out of the sky like she was tossing a disc on the beach.
Amy Wickner fires it ahead. That's Mercier. Another one of the leading handlers for Scandal. That one was wide of Frankie, and it goes back to Boston Brute Squad. Just a matter of time, though, before Scandal finds the end zone and ends this game. They just need one more point. The massive lead over Boston. Good flick and a great catch. As Brute Squad's in position to score, Malinowski looking to dump it in. Waiting for a cut, she sends it back instead. Now Leela Tennell. Back to Malinowski. Zings it toward the sideline of the end zone, and a good running catch by Cami Groom, her second goal. And back-to-back points for Brute Squad.
Boston trying to do everything it can to stay positive. And a solid floating backhand to the front cone. Groom there. But as you said, it is only a matter of time.
Especially about 7 minutes from the soft cap, which means only 2 goals can be scored after that. As Cami Groom gets in the end zone again. Boston Brute Squad has scored very little in both halves, but 2 goals in the second half for Groom, 3 in each half.
See if the O-line here can finish it off. Brute hasn't scored that many. The DC O-line has not, been on the field as a unit all that much. But DC has turned it over so few times. The DC offensive line has only turned it over twice. And Boston 0 for 2 in break chances. Scandal, meanwhile, 8 of 13 in break chances. They've forced turnovers and they've capitalized on them over and over again. 8 out of 13, that's a tremendous break percentage.
Alicia White being forced from the side, flings it forward to midfield now for DC Scandal. Again, match point.
One thing to be thinking about as we look toward tomorrow is the status of Sandy Jurgensen. She hasn't been on the field since she made that great D and then was hobbling in the aftermath as DC turns it over. Just another, this is only the 3rd break chance for Boston in the entire game. I'd be very surprised if Sandy didn't try to give it a go tomorrow. It does look like she's on the sidelines walking around all right. But even, let's say she couldn't go, Ashley Daly has been just a tremendous deep threat along with Sarah Ito.
And Huck swings back to the Brute Squad, and a sliding catch by Hoffman. Looked like it was overthrown, and then the wind brought it right back. Diving out of the end zone to make that catch was Titcomb. And she dumps it in for the score to Emily Beecher. Here come the Brute Squad, not going down without a fight.
That's 2 in a row for Boston. Good catch by Titcomb. Emily Beecher, one of the leaders across the country in women's ultimate. She's so tough. She works as an emergency room physician assistant in Cambridge.
Not exactly a calm lifestyle. Brute Squad has scored 3 of the last 4 points. It's been their best run of the day. It's calm at the very end of this one as DC Scandal still needs just 1 point to finish it off. Boston has dug themselves a hole that is probably too enormous to get out of. Beecher with the pull, gives it back to DC Scandal. Again, needing just 1 point to advance. Trying to get to the national championship game for the 2nd straight year. They won the national title last year, breaking the 7-peat of Fury. And now tomorrow, DC Scandal with a chance to repeat as Alicia White brings down the game-winning goal and a 15-7 win. All Scandal from start to finish in this one. And DC Scandal knocks off the #1 seed to get back into the title game tomorrow afternoon. (15-7) our final here in Frisco in this first women's semifinal game. And DC Scandal moves on. The 2014 USA Ultimate Championships are brought to you by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer today about Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, America's most competitive and prestigious series of ultimate tournaments. and by USA Ultimate, the national governing body of the sport of ultimate in the United States. To learn more about USA Ultimate or to find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. DC Scandal was strong from start to finish in this one. The last score, Sarah Ito to a leaping Alicia White to finish off the Brute Squad and take away the #1 seed from this tournament.
Sarah Ito with a tremendous throw there, and really a great microcosm of the day that it was for Scandal. Everything was connecting. Everything was in rhythm, in perfect sync. And for Alex Guesquier, he only knows winning. Took him a while to finally get to the top of the pyramid as a player and a coach for San Francisco Revolver, but he did won a world championship on the men's side, then moved back east. You know, he played for Dog back in the day, the Boston powerhouse, and now he beats Boston. Alex Guesquier became a father. He and Kath Ratcliffe, a young baby boy named Xavi, Xavi, and he has become, you can see on the left side of your screen, Kath Ratcliffe. He's basically become the team mascot. Dutchie went to the coaches meeting with the USA Ultimate officials before the game, carrying him. They actually listed Xavi on their official roster and team support personnel to ensure that they could have him with them on the sidelines, because USA Ultimate can be strict about who they allow on the sidelines. He has been a good luck charm so far. And Kath Ratcliffe played a few points earlier in the tournament. Scandal didn't expect to have many points that she could play in this one, but it was a one-sided affair all the way through.
As we go down to the field, Octavia Payne, one of the winning players for DC Scandal. And what made this one so easy against a pretty good team?
I don't know. I think we always kind of go into every tournament expecting to grow throughout. We definitely aren't the same team today as we were on Thursday, and we knew that we were gonna have to come in hitting the ground running, and we did exactly that. And we used all that nervous energy, and we used it to fire us up.
Opie, congratulations. Some incredible layouts in this game and deep shots. I know you didn't expect this one to be this easy. What was it like on the sidelines as everything was clicking and you guys were pulling away?
I think there was a sense of, like, we are playing us. I don't think it was a surprise. It was kind of, we always knew that it was coming, and we for sure haven't hit our full potential, but we knew that we were a team that came away with some really tough mental wins yesterday and the day before. So we knew that we had it in us. And it was just kind of looking around side to side at each other. We were like, we got this, we got this for sure.
I'm curious, has it felt different this year here in Frisco as the defending champions?
I don't think so. I think part of having kind of struggling throughout the season may have been a blessing. I think we like to approach every season as a blank slate team, and last year was last year. I know the favorite thing to talk about in social media or whatever is that we're the reigning champions, but we're really coming out as a blank slate team, and we have the 2014 championships to earn. So.
Looking forward to tomorrow, Fury Riot. It's a close game. I think it's 4-3 right now in the first half. Your thought on and how you guys match up with each of those teams?
I think we match up strategically and one-on-one very well with both of them. We know them. We know each team well through playing against them throughout the season and last season. So either way, it's going to be a treat. It's going to be a battle, and we look forward to it.
Who would it be sweeter to beat tomorrow?
I don't know. I have friends of both teams, so it would be really fun to go up against either one. I'm not sure. I can't say.
Octavia Payne of DC Scandal. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Scandal wins today, 15-7. They beat the Boston Brute Squad. And now DC Scandal will win away from a second straight national championship. For Evan Lepler, I'm Wayne Randazzo. We say so long from Dr. Pinkfield in Frisco, Texas. The final score, once again, DC Scandal 15, Boston Brute Squad 7. To watch this entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
slick hucks like this. Opie Payne, a majestic deep shot right on the money. Full field and picture perfect for Scandal. Washington, D.C. in control.